a steal. Miller retreats to the three-point line and hits again. Oh, you beauty! What a headshot! What a head!
Welcome to the No Regard podcast. My name's Nathan Bleakley.
I'm Marcelo Lucha.
It's been a big week in sports, Marcelo. On and off the court / field / pitch, like whatever you like to call it.
You just gave it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Variety this week, you know. We've got pretty much every major sport apart from the NFL. To talk about.
The most major of sports.
Basketball, football, tennis. What else?
I'd actually like to start in Australia on a bit more of a somber note.
Okay.
Unfortunately, on Friday morning, we heard the heartbreaking news that the coach of the Adelaide Crows, Phil Walsh, had been murdered in his own home. I don't want to give away too many of the details in terms of not everything's been decided in the courts yet, and it would feel a bit inappropriate speculating on a public forum, but look, me and Marcelo, all our thoughts go out to not only the family of Phil Walsh, but also all the players, coaches, anyone who was involved with him professionally or personally that were affected by this. It's an absolute unexpected, horrific situation. Thankfully, they've called off the Adelaide-Geelong game this week, so Adelaide can spend some time to mourn for their coach. But yeah, it just tells you, sometimes life is a lot bigger than sport, and there were some really heartwarming moments as well. After the Friday night match, the day that he had passed away, Collingwood and Hawthorn at the end of the game, both teams, both coaches, all linked arms. And the brilliant thing was, no player of the same team was next to it. It was like opposing player. And it was really like a heartwarming, moving moment to watch. Look, we just want to say our condolences to his family, and we wish him and all his loved ones the best in this tough time.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say one other thing about AFL. Moving on to some less somber topics. I think it's about time we're seeing, as the league moves on, everything like that, I think...
You want to see some rule changes,
exactly.
right?
Like, the league needs to keep moving with the times, needs to keep moving with public opinion.
Yep.
We're hearing simultaneous outcry from the best players and the best coaches. For example, guys like Paul Roos, one of the best coaches in the league, as well as arguably the best player in the league, Scott Pendlebury.
So it's the substitution rule
that you want to talk about, the substitution rule.
So that's what we're starting the pod off with this week. So what do you want to see changed?
So basically, for anyone that doesn't know, the substitute rule is where one of the 4 bench players in an AFL match, they don a green vest, and they're not able to enter the match until someone else has been subbed off and gets a red vest. So it's more of a permanent substitution, ones that we see in sports like football and that sort of stuff.
By vest, do you mean like a bib?
Like an actual bib, like
a
literal red bib.
Okay.
Now, the reason this is kind of rule redundant is because there is so many... the difference in soccer is when there's a sub, there's 3 subs for the entire match. There's 3 interchanges for the entire match.
That's it, you don't get
for AFL,
Yep.
And they often reach this cap. It's 120 interchange cap in a game, so players are moving that much. There doesn't really need to be an injection of energy, because they're constantly monitored. I've seen they use computers now. They use equations to see how long a player can stay out for, monitoring their heart rate, everything like that. So it's very scientific in the way they go about it. And I think it would be more useful for these sides when they have this many substitutions to have an extra player in the bench rotation, rather than keeping one off and bringing someone on. And I think even if there was a long-term injury, you'd still be at a disadvantage, but you'd still be able to bring 3 guys on and off. And look, injuries are a part of the game, and we can't just assume every match there's going to be a long-term injury, because then it becomes a very sort of pessimistic attitude to the game.
Right.
And one other thing I'd like to just say on it, it has to be demoralising for rookies to come in thinking they've got their big shot, spend 3.5 quarters on the bench and come in for maybe 10 minutes game time at the end of the game, simply because, whereas in the past they get a decent chance to run out and display their skill set, and they can become a small part of the rotation if they weren't playing that well. It's not as if soccer's 11 players on the field, 7 players on the bench. This is 18 players on the field, 4 players on the bench. You want to make as much use of the bench as possible. You want to give guys as much use of the rest of it as possible, because AFL is a very aerobic sport. you get midfielders running up to 16, 20 kilometers a game.
Yeah.
So
what you're saying is you want to make that forced substitution just like the others. You want to make it completely interchangeable as many times in the game.
Like it was before 2011, before they brought in the substitute rule. Okay. So I'm calling for the scrap of the substitute rule. There is big public opinion for the scrapping of the substitute rule. And look, I hope there is a change by 2016, and I reckon there will be. That's where the AFL's moving. That's where all the public opinion is moving. So I'm pretty keen to see that rule scrapped, and hopefully some other rules brought in that improve the pace and state of our game.
Look, I'll be the first to say, I'm not the biggest AFL fan. I don't watch every round, but from a logical standpoint, why would you have one that's just permanent? Okay, because if you think about it, if there is a long-term injury on the field, why not just use one of the 4 interchangeable subs? Just take the guy off, and the other guy comes on.
And sometimes it's put on pretty precautionary. Like they sub him off before he's even gone through a concussion test or something like that. If the guy can get back on the field in a big final, I think especially in finals, it's shown to be a weak point of the game. Because in finals, no one wants to sit out a big finals game for 3.5 quarters and come on. You're going to not exactly get an energetic impact sub. You're going to get someone who's maybe their head's not completely in the game because they're feeling a little demoralised by being subbed out for 3/4 of the game.
That's another good point, man. I agree with you. I mean, sitting in that 4th sub must be you're not going to get in the game early unless there's a big injury. And even then...
does that make the team negative where the guy in the green vest is hoping for an injury of his own teammate so he can get out there and play?
Look, man, injuries happen all the time. That's a way for role players to step up and prove. How many times have we seen a great player step up after someone's been injured? But I agree with you. This rule's kind of stupid, and the fact that it's been changed so recently, I think there's a good chance that they'll change it back.
Exactly. So we actually might move on to some other Australians, but it won't be on Australian shores. Wimbledon, man. It's here, the biggest tennis event in the world.
Look, we got a few points to talk about. You want to talk about Nick first?
I want to talk about, I might talk about Nick first. Look, Kyrgios has been called out a bit in terms of the media and the public opinion that he's received.
Mm-hmm. It's been that way for a while.
He's been taking some heat for a while. Some people don't really like that he's so passionate and outspoken and loud, and they're afraid that he's not very gentlemanly for the game of tennis. Man, we've had this conversation before. What do we think?
A million times.
What do we think of trash talking, Marcelo?
It is necessary.
It's not just a good part of the sport.
It's necessary in sport. You can't. Okay. How can you say you are ultra competitive without talking trash or doing something that it's an edgy thing? Yes, and when you watch it on TV, it does get you a bit
especially in a game like tennis, where it hasn't traditionally been a huge part of the game.
Right. I mean, if you have the chance to get in someone's head, why not?
Exactly.
In my opinion, if you can win the game by telling someone that they suck and they believe you.
Now, it hasn't so much been trash talking that's been brought up as the reason why people are upset with him. It's also been because, he's been complaining to refs a bit. He's been having a bit of an exchange with the umpire, everything like that. He's thrown his racket down. He's shouting. He's swearing. He's doing all sorts of naughty things that the British are really angry about.
Passion.
It's passion, and I think that's something we love to see in sports. We love to see Delhi in the finals when he just got that he got that stop on Steph Curry and he absolutely went nuts. Yeah. We love seeing the passion in sports, and why should tennis be any different? If anything, it makes me like him more. Ref complaining, he genuinely thought there were some wrong calls, and he's still a kid. He's still 20 years old. Mm-hmm. He has time to grow and mature and learn where this passion is maybe more appropriate and less appropriate. I've got a quote from here I like to say, and I think it really describes my feelings towards it as well. Nick Kyrgios said, "I like to watch entertaining tennis. I'm not the biggest believer in saying nothing out there or being a robot. I feel you should express yourself. It's a sport."
He's exactly right.
Exactly. Sport is entertainment. Sport is passion. Sport is doing everything that you can to win.
Look, we do need to say, though, that we are in Australia. We are Australians, and Kyrgios is Australian.
Bias.
Okay, we do need to say that. That's a disclaimer for everybody.
Massive bias.
But, we both know we wouldn't be defending a British player like we are.
Oh, God, no.
But we got to give
if
love.
Andy Murray's saying suddenly grew a personality and started shouting at people.
It's like Roddick. Like he was one of the most just foul-mouthed players out there. But I hated Roddick.
The difference between tennis and basketball, no one hears what these guys say trash talk on the court in basketball. In tennis, everyone sees it.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a tennis game? Look, those stadiums are dead quiet because if you're not, they're going to throw you out.
Exactly.
Like, the umpire says quiet, you got to be quiet. Or security's looking at you, you probably get one warning, you're gone. Okay, so if someone's talking trash on the court, you're going to hear it, especially if you're courtside.
And that kind of takes out some of the personal feeling. It's kind of more like talking to an audience rather than just trying to get in the other guy's head, because you are talking to an audience.
He's just expressing himself.
Exactly.
He wasn't aiming it at the other guy. He wasn't throwing his racket at the other guy.
He was just trying to get himself going.
That's nothing, man. It's nothing. I can't believe we're even talking about this.
Just a complete non-issue. I don't know why we're even talking about this. And by the way, Kyrgios is, he's making some good vibes in this Wimbledon tournament.
What's the furthest you see him going?
I see a good tournament for Nick Kyrgios being the quarterfinals. Look, I don't think he's maybe good enough to beat that top 4, top 6 consistently yet. Mm-hmm. But, he's making waves. He's still young. And look, I have big hopes for Kyrgios. Probably the biggest prospect our country has since Hewitt. Maybe even better.
I agree with you. I think quarterfinals is probably the ceiling right now. I mean, you got to remember, he knocked out Federer.
Yeah.
In the last tournament. I don't know what it was, or the second last tournament. So quarterfinals for him would be amazing because there's no way you're beating that top 8.
I think the Australian hype train, if he gets to the semis, would just be incredible.
That new Beats ad, keep getting paid, Nick Kyrgios.
Everyone check out that Beats ad. Keep getting them checks, Nick Kyrgios.
You got to do what you got to do, man. But let's talk about the
Speaking
tournament.
about getting paid, we're in free agency now.
No, man, no. You're going too fast, bro. We're still going to talk about tennis.
Damn it.
Come on now, Nathan, though. Everybody just saw how much he loves basketball.
Okay.
We just got to put the brakes on a little bit. Okay?
Secretly under the radar trying to turn into a basketball podcast.
Look, just 2 quick things before we get into basketball, all right? Number 1, who's winning this tournament?
Just say Djokovic.
It's Djokovic.
Look,
okay.
Nadal's going through a pretty horrid form slump, and that's by virtue of, he's kind of young, but that body has taken some punishment.
Yeah.
And, Murray could make waves, but I feel like Djokovic, who's just recently taken out Bernard Tomic, by the way.
Good.
Feels like Yeah, Australian bias.
Uh-huh.
I feel like it might be Djokovic this tournament.
I absolutely agree.
I feel like that's the safest pick that won't get us any hate.
Exactly. I mean,
Andy Murray's always going to be a threat too.
That's a good bet to put on. I mean, Murray's a good bet.
Yeah.
If you want to make your money's worth, I'm sure those odds are high.
We love that hard-nosed, grinded out, don't say anything, as well as we love the guys like Kyrgios who are, passion personified.
You talked about Nadal.
Yeah.
Out in the second round. What's going on, man? We haven't seen him perform at any of the last tournaments.
He hasn't made it past the 4th round since 2011. That's a long time, But
I'm not sure how the seedings look right now, but I believe he's out of top 10.
I feel like history says guys who have not found form for this long generally stay looking for that form for the rest of their careers.
So you're saying Nadal's done?
Not done. I think he can still compete at a high level in professional tennis, and maybe even, he has an Open or 2 left over in him. Mm-hmm. But, I feel like his time racking up the major wins maybe might be near an end. And that's no fault of his own. That's just injury, man. Sometimes injury takes out the best of players.
Yeah, you're right.
Speaking from the perspective of a Bulls fan, a Rose fan.
I mean, one of the most dominating clay court players ever. And we're seeing him do absolutely nothing against players that he used to just drill.
Yeah.
Like they were nothing, straight sets. So it's going to be interesting to see where Nadal goes from here. Exactly. I honestly, I'm more confident in saying that he is done. As much as that saddens me to say, because I love Nadal.
Yeah.
But it's just not
Used
looking
to be
good.
my favourite tennis player.
Djokovic is just getting better. Murray's always going to be good. You got Ferrer. You got a lot of other guys that are doing really well. You got Kyrgios, man. Kyrgios is coming. But now we can go to basketball, Nathan. I'm sorry to
talking to me like a kid who just wants his dessert before his dinner.
We just had to give the tennis fans some love.
Exactly. We need to do more of that, I reckon.
I think we do.
BTY need to watch more Wimbledon ourselves.
No. We'll endeavour to do that.
We'll endeavour to watch the rest of the Wimbledon tournament. Okay, free agency. So, geez, it's been a big few days, Marcelo.
And this is why you're so keen to talk about it. Like, let's be honest, it's been huge.
Massive. Like, usually free agency drawn over a couple of weeks, guys wait, they're tactical, they wait for other guys to do their deals.
Honestly, throughout the week, I thought maybe we wouldn't talk about free agency this
just because they wouldn't happen enough.
Then I woke up and I read the headlines and goddamn.
Free agency's almost over, guys.
This is it.
We might actually talk about I think there's 2 big deals left to do. Because there's a few big deals that haven't been announced yet. Gasol's going to Memphis. It hasn't been announced, but it's happening. Marc Gasol is going to Memphis.
Yep.
But let's talk about the big fish, LaMarcus Aldridge.
So he hasn't signed a deal yet, unlike most of the players we're going to talk about.
Yep.
Look, I said it last week. It was between Dallas or San Antonio. It's got to be San Antonio, man. That's all we're hearing.
Yeah, exactly.
And he met with the Lakers. I know he met with Phoenix, or he's meeting with Phoenix.
Yeah.
I can't see him playing there, man. It's look, Phoenix is a desert for people that don't know. There's not much going on.
A literal and philosophical desert of everything.
Quite literally a desert. There's not much going on in Phoenix. As much of a great city as I'm sure it is. I'm sure the people there are amazing because small country town. Small cities are nice. But we come from a small city ourselves.
We come from a small city.
But
because we have no Phoenix listeners yet, we have no discomfort in saying he's not going to the Phoenix Suns.
He's not going to Phoenix.
So from the rumblings that we've heard, apparently the Spurs meeting, which did involve Popovich, which did involve Tim Duncan, which did involve Tony Parker, did involve Casey Jones, went brilliantly. He had dinner with the team. I'd imagine, Pop just threw out they just threw out all their rings on the table and gave him a nice, Texas steak and what do you want to do, man?
Look, honestly, if I'm LaMarcus Aldridge, what I'm looking for is assurance that Tim Duncan is staying at least 2 more years.
Exactly, yeah.
Because if he's not staying, I don't know if San Antonio would get it. You know what I mean? Even with Tony Parker.
But I feel like Aldridge right now would have as much impact as Tim Duncan has right now.
I agree with
Not comparing Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan in his prime fries LaMarcus, but LaMarcus is in his prime right now.
Different players too.
Exactly. Different sorts of players. Look, LaMarcus Aldridge can be a big impact on the offensive end. I think also you have Kawhi Leonard as well. I think the only sort of rumbling that you'd have with it is how long has Popovich and Tony Parker and Tim Duncan got left at playing at this level where they're competing for a championship every year?
Right, because what's that lineup like? You got Tony Parker, right? Yep. Danny Green coming back?
Danny Green is coming back. He also got a first deal that we're going to talk about. 4 years. I think it's about $44 million.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
a bit overpaid.
A bit overpaid, even with the cap jumping. It's, by the way, the cap will be going from $67 million in the next season to $89 million in 2016-2017, and then if everything stays the course, in 2016-2017 it'll be jumping to $106 million.
So luxury tax isn't even going to be an issue.
No.
Unless you're just building a superstar team. But back to San Antonio. So with Kawhi, LaMarcus, and Tim Duncan at the 3, 4, 5. Respectively.
Yeah.
That's looking pretty damn good.
Exactly.
With that system ball that they play, man, I reckon Western Conference Finals.
Exactly. You'd probably say even possibility of the finals. There's still a few big guns that are going to be in the West next season. The West Conference next year, by the way, looks absolutely just brutal.
Yeah. I'm glad my Knicks
even more brutal than this year.
I agree.
So we're probably going to say he's going to the Spurs. Look, the Lakers had a chance. They had 2 chances. They had 2 meetings. No, mate. I don't think it. I think Kobe's meeting. I think Kobe didn't really strike enough of a note with LaMarcus.
See, from what I'm hearing, is that the meeting had more to do with the sponsorship deals you get in LA and everything that comes with LA, Hollywood. When they really, I'm sure LaMarcus wanted to know, what are you going to do with the basketball team?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the system?
I think LaMarcus, the reason he's not staying in Portland, I think he'd be fine money-wise in Portland. I think he's more thinking, who's going to win me a chip?
Exactly.
That's what his focus seems like at the moment.
Yeah.
What's going to win me a chip? And by the way, even though the Phoenix deal won't happen, I think apparently he was really intrigued by their presentation of what he could do with Tyson Chandler and Brandon Knight, and he was intrigued by that. But I feel like he won't go to Phoenix. I don't feel like Phoenix doesn't have a big history of landing free agents. They did have a good team a few years back with Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire, Sean Marion. But I feel like we're still a few years away from seeing a great Phoenix team. Yeah,
you're right about that. But let's move on.
So we've got our first big deal, big contract that we're going to talk about. DeAndre Jordan, 4 years to the Dallas Mavericks, $80 million.
Overpaid.
So $20 million a year with a player option at the end. I think we know Marcelo's opinion on it.
Look, DeAndre Jordan is completely overrated. Don't get me wrong.
Agreed.
He's a good player, but he's not what people
before we
make him
get
out
negative,
to be.
let's say the strengths about what is DeAndre good at?
So he brings you instant defense. He's going to block everything. He's going to rebound a lot, even though he should rebound more, to be completely honest. His rebounding game.
He's probably one of the most athletic big guys over 7 foot we've seen in the league, maybe ever.
Yeah, Collins. He's not going to give you much offense. Okay, he's gonna catch all the lobs. He's gonna dunk it. He might
outside of like 3 feet of the rim, he's not a post-up player.
No.
He's not a shooter.
No. So when you get stretch centers that can shoot the ball, you're going to have issues. Okay, because suddenly people can go to the hole. What else? He can't make free throws.
I think that's the weakness that's really memorable in our minds now that we've seen so much Hacker Jordan in these playoffs. Can we just talk about how he totally did Doc Rivers dirty? Players got to be businessmen.
It is a
business, but
it's a business, man. Okay.
Got to be a businessman.
Look, the Clippers are going to be okay.
Clippers will be fine. Their center spot doesn't look great. Looks non-existent, actually.
No, but now with DeAndre, Dallas is looking pretty good.
They also picked up someone else. Wesley Matthews on a 4-year deal. Mm-hmm. So, what are your opinions on this, Marcelo?
Look, I would have rather kept Monte in that backcourt and then just done something to solidify it instead of getting Wesley Matthews.
Even you might even be fine, maybe even playing Monte at the point and then playing Wes Matthews at the, maybe even switching him and Parsons or something like that on the wings or something like that. But with Wes Matthews and losing Monte Ellis, you gain 3-point shooting. Firstly, let's say that. You gain a lot of 3-point shooting. I think now Parsons, Dirk, and now Wes Matthews, that's a mean shooting 2 through 4 spot. Mm-hmm. The one obviously big asterisk around him is his Achilles injury.
Yeah.
Traditionally the biggest threat to a player's career ever.
Yeah, but I'm not even too worried about that.
Because even if he's just a shooter, if he's a lights-out shooter, it's a lot of money to pay a lights-out shooter, but
we've seen people recover from it, and every year technology just gets better, medicine gets better.
By the way, get well soon, Wes Matthews. We hope you go well.
Yep.
Now there was actually an organisation clearing up a lot of cap space to try and land Wes Matthews as well. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about the Sacramento Kings of Comedy. The Sacramento, just absolute.
I like Sacramento.
Look,
ever since I saw Chris Webber play in Sac, I loved it. It's a nice city as well. Look, getting Rondo.
Rondo, by the way, 1 year, $9 million.
As much as I love Rajon Rondo, I can't see this working. I can see Rondo getting a lot of triple doubles. He can lead the league in triple doubles, even lead the league in assists.
But do you feel like it's going to be players getting their own? And
yeah, that's what it's going to be.
I feel like because Rondo. Okay, first off the bat, Rondo can't shoot. Rondo straight up can't shoot outside the mid range.
No. Unless he's in the clutch.
But we're not going to see much of playoff Rondo.
No, we're not.
Anymore. Rondo against the Heat was incredible, but
absolutely incredible.
The thing with Sacramento, they have no shooters, so you can't really kick it out to anyone. Mm-hmm. Rondo can't shoot. They don't have a 2-guard. Macklemore's all right, but he's not a lights-out shooter yet. Rudy Gay isn't a shooter. They don't have a power forward really at the moment.
It's just a lot of pieces missing.
Missing.
We both know DeMarcus wants out. It's that simple.
It feels like it, yeah. And look, George Karl has got to... Both of them have got to, swallow their pride a bit and work with each other for now.
Yeah.
There was a big rumours over the last week or two about a Lakers deal. Maybe possibly going down for a trade. Feels like it's quiet on that front at the moment. Mm-hmm. Could still happen, might not still happen.
What do we know?
Exactly. They may be waiting till after free agency to see where all the pieces land. Mm-hmm. I don't see this working. Best case scenario, we get an entertaining 8 seed in the West, where we see DeMarcus throw up.
There's no way they make 8 seed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Not in that West. Maybe in the East they would have made 7th.
Considering who made the 8 seed this year, Anthony Davis.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about him later.
Yeah, this is not.
No, this isn't a playoff team, man. It's not, and they've got 2 really great players. Rudy Gay is a really good player.
Yeah, he had a great season last year, by the way. Props to you, Rudy Gay. So,
from here, what are you gonna do, man? You got to get rid of Cousins. He doesn't want to be there.
But in the same way, you're odds on you're not gonna draft a player like Cousins for the next 10 years.
No, but how else are you gonna restructure your team? Exactly.
You can't superstars. I know. Technically organisations have the power, but superstars don't play for teams that they don't want to play for.
No, it's that simple.
So I could see Cousins still forcing a trade. Hopefully for Sacramento, that trade gets them a bunch of young pieces, maybe a few draft picks that lets them start this rebuild in earnest. Because Cousins, as the best player on a team, I feel like he'll get a lot of points, you'll get a few wins out of it, but this is not a player... As amazing as Cousins is, he's not a player by himself that can drag a team into the playoffs.
No. Everyone needs help, And
I don't feel like Rondo's going to be the difference maker. Like, if they got Rondo and Wes Matthews, or Rondo and Monte Ellis, I feel like Rondo and Monte Ellis would be a disaster, by the way. Why would you take their situation from Dallas and
replicate it?
Yeah, replicate it. Cause the whole
make it even worse.
Yeah.
you don't have Nowitzki, you don't have Parsons.
Wait, what if we got the reason Dallas completely failed and bring it to a worse organization?
Maybe it'll work in the East.
Maybe
that could work in the East if there was a team in the East. I don't know. I'm just speculating now.
Speaking of teams in the East that are picking up one of our favourite players.
My New York Knicks.
Ooh.
Who do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk Monte? Let's talk Monte.
Well, I was going to say one of my favourite players, Aaron Afolo, is not one of my favourite players.
I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself.
You're right.
I got ahead of myself. There goes my love.
Oh no. Okay. Monte Ellis, 4 years, $44 million, Indiana Pacers. Great deal. Great deal.
I can't wait to see him play there.
Look, the Pacers, this is perfect, because you have George Hill playing alongside him in the backcourt. George Hill's the perfect supplementary guard to some. This is the guy you want to be playing with a ball-dominant shooting guard.
Right, because he's a very average player.
Basically,
no. Let's be honest, though.
He's average. He's not bad. He's a league average player.
He's very, very, very average. he's the definition of an average point guard.
That's brutal, but true. In this league now, he's not a good point guard.
What do you mean in this league now? It would have been the same 10 years ago. I'm sorry, George Hill just isn't that good. He's not a bad player. He's not good.
Okay.
To your point, though.
Yeah, but Monte Ellis, look, you're getting a lot of scoring. A traditional 20 points a night kind of guy. Mm-hmm. Can't shoot great from the outside yet. But he's still going to score a lot in the paint. Look, he's one of the most crafty players I've seen. Really undersized guard. Reminds you a little bit of Allen Iverson in the way he's small. He's undersized, but he's tough enough to go in the paint.
He looks stronger, though.
He's strong. Yeah. He's strong. Great for the hard-nosed sort of identity of Indiana as well.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how their front court shakes out with West and Hibbert as well. See if they trade, see if they sign anyone for the front court, anything. This could be a playoff team in the East, just off the backs of Monte Ellis and Paul George coming back, by the way.
Yeah, that's huge. But you touched on Roy Hibbert. Look, 99% of people that I talk to think that Roy Hibbert is completely done. And I disagree. I know he had an incredibly bad year. That was one of the worst fall-offs I've seen in quite a while. But maybe what he needs is a bit of motivation.
Yeah.
Paul George comes back, you start winning games, people start feeling better. Suddenly the airplane rides, It's good vibes.
Exactly.
People playing Bob Marley, everything's going to be all right, bro.
I think the one thing that would take the team over the top too, there's a point guard in Denver that's antsy for a trade right now. Ty Lawson. I reckon this would be the perfect place for Ty Lawson.
He's not an average point guard.
He's not an average point guard.
No, he's a very good guard.
I reckon this would be the perfect place for Ty Lawson, an 8 assists a game player last year. Like, this would be a good place for him.
That's a good fantasy pickup too.
Good point. Drinking, that's not my business. Let's talk about my Bulls. Were a bit active in free agency as well.
Yep.
We re-signed Jimmy Butler.
You had to do that.
I got a bit nervous. There were a few Lakers stories flying around. I felt like that was just Laker fans.
No, he's the future.
But he did the perfect thing that our organisation wanted. He re-signed for 5 years, $95 million. I don't even care about the amount of money.
No, that's not being overpaid.
He's not, especially when the cap jumps too.
No.
$18 million is going to look like a steal when players are getting $30 million max deals or whatever in 2 years' time.
Jimmy Butler is a superstar in this league. He's not a star, he's a superstar.
And now, if Derrick Rose gets back to a certain amount of respectability,
that's all he needs to do. If Derrick Rose can be average, team is really good.
That rivals the Curry Thompson backcourt. If these guys are playing at any sort of level. So I'm excited for the Bulls. They also re-signed Mike Dunleavy Jr., easily our best shooter.
Yep.
For a strong 3-year deal, $15 million. 5 years for a guy that was our second best plus-minus player in the playoffs. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with what the Bulls have done in free agency. Let's talk about your team, Marcelo. A few good signings for the Knicks.
Hey, man. Phil Jackson looking like a god after the draft, all right?
Yeah.
The draft was a bit shaky, okay?
A bit.
It was a bit shaky. I mean, we had the ups. We traded for Jerome Grant. Okay, that was the
I'm not ready to call the Kristaps Porzingis a down yet. I reckon
for me, it's a down. Because we could have taken Cauley Stein. We could have taken
Winslow.
A few other players, right? We pick up Robin Lopez.
Yep.
Okay, good deal as well. Okay, Aflalo, good deal as well. Okay, both cheap contracts. I know we don't have much on the cap because of Melo, obviously.
Yeah.
But these are two good pickups, man. Honestly, I can see us pushing for that 8th seed this year. If everything plays out, and if you
look, Melo has the potential to score 20, 25, 26 points a night.
Yeah.
In this team.
Without trying.
Exactly.
It's Melo. It's Melo.
Look, and I'm excited to see what he does. Hopefully he's back to full health.
Please reassure me that Porzingis is going to be a good player. Please, just tell me now. Please.
So the reasons why I think Aflalo and Robin Lopez are good deals for the New York Knicks. You've got Aflalo, a starting caliber shooting guard in this league.
Yep.
A great scorer 2 years ago at the Magic. He did average 18 points a game, near all-star sort of form. If you can do anything like that as a secondary option in the offense to Carmelo Anthony, there's your scoring.
Yep.
And you also have Robin Lopez, who's going to be the hard-nosed, tough guy, no nonsense, go in and get some rebounds, the enforcer of the team as well.
Look, I want to see Robin Lopez lead the league in fouls. That's what I want to see.
I agree. That'd be...
That's what we need, man.
Little soap opera in New York. And then you have all that guy doing all the grinding. Kristaps can try his hand in the post, but he's maybe not the thickness yet, but he's able to stretch the floor a bit now. He's able to get that mid-range game going. Because this guy's movement off the ball, this guy's dexterity, his shooting is really good.
Yeah.
That's the reason why he's drafted number 4. It isn't like, they came out and drafted Anthony Bennett at number 1 or something like that.
Don't even bring it up.
Now that would be stupid, right? But no, I feel like this was this could be an interesting Knicks team. Could be a playoffs team.
You haven't fully convinced me, man, but you're making me feel a little bit better.
I haven't fully convinced myself.
Let's hope for my sake that you're correct.
Speaking of guys that will be playoff teams in the East, this Milwaukee Bucks team, by the way, a team I saw live at the start of the year.
Against New York.
Who
won that game, by the way?
Milwaukee.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but
20... but then again, they were the 8th seed that year.
Yeah, exactly. They were still rocking with Brandon Knight.
Fair enough.
Still rocking with Brandon Knight. Look, what we saw against them in the playoffs was the hard-nosed defensive team that would lock you down. This could potentially be one of the best defensive teams in the league next year. And, like with defense, you need good offense as well.
Yep.
You need both to win championships or even compete well in the playoffs. So they went and added Greg Monroe for a 3-year, $60 million contract. Is it overpaid? I don't know. They needed a center. They needed scoring. And they needed a go-to scorer in that front court. So, look, I think it's the perfect player for them to pick up. They've got no one under 6'6" in their starting lineup.
Yeah, that's pretty
They've got a
ridiculous.
really tall, really athletic starting lineup.
Young lineup.
Look, no one's over 25 in that starting lineup right now. Like, this is an exciting team. If this team's a playoff team already, like, imagine what they'll be like in 3 years.
Yeah, the only doubt I have, and I agree with you, I don't think they're overpaid. I think it's a good deal for both parties.
I'm a bit suspect about his defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's what I was going to say, man.
Yeah.
His defense... But maybe he can be
but
taught.
It's not
you're
like
big
you
guy.
have like someone like Enes Kanter who's just a liability. Like,
He just stands there
he's
on the
average.
pick and roll.
He's an average defender, but he's a great, like, he's a guy that can get you like 18 and 10.
Look, he's a big guy. I mean,
exactly.
all you need to do is stand there and lift your hands up like this. Like,
and he'll be playing at center, by the way. He'll be playing at center.
Yeah.
A little bit undersized maybe, but he'll get his rebounds. He'll get his scoring.
he'll be fine.
Yeah,
I think Jason Gidd can do
I
really
see him
well.
as someone who will earn his $20 million.
Yeah.
Speaking of guys earning $20 million next season,
Dwayne. Okay.
But do you want to explain why we just did that?
Okay, so it's obviously talking about Dwayne Wade from the Miami Heat, right?
Yeah.
Nathan didn't know. Okay, so wait, no. Let's just start from the beginning.
This is amazing. The amount of times I've read his name too, like that I didn't notice.
Normally, yeah, I'm speaking from what I know. I might be wrong.
As a general member of society in the English,
generally,
English
where
language.
the name Dwayne is spelled D-W-A-Y-N-E. Now, for some reason, unbeknownst to me, Dwayne Wade at birth was named D-W-Y-A-N-E. Essentially rendering Dwayne as
Dwayne.
Okay, and that might be a recurring joke on the pod.
New mascot of the pod, Dwayne.
Dwayne Wade. Your parents fucked up, bro.
Hey, but you know who didn't fuck up? His agent.
No.
He's getting $20 million next year.
Hey, you know what? The Miami squad's gonna be good.
And look, if they can bring Dragic back,
They'll bring him back.
they'll bring him back.
Yeah.
That's Dragic, Wade, Deng, Bosch, Hassan Whiteside, and coming off the bench, our man, Justice Winslow. Like, this could be a very good team.
Dude, Winslow can get some starting time.
He will get starting time. He won't start in the starting lineup, but he will make his way in there. Deng will have some injuries because it's Deng.
It's Deng.
Like Wade will have some games out. So he'll make his way in there.
Yeah, because Wade is going to have to rest.
Yeah.
And we saw in college, Winslow can play a few positions.
Look, and Miami needs to maybe sign a few more role player free agents as well. But I think they'll be able to do it. And I'm excited
they
to
still
watch.
have Chalmers?
I think so, yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything. So, good backup point guard as well.
Exactly, yeah. So, you reckon they're a top 4 team next year, Marcelo?
Yeah, I
in
do.
the East.
I think so.
Yeah.
In the East. Yeah.
I'm excited for this way. We predicted them the top 4 team actually going this season, but obviously injuries, bad form, affected them a bit. But one team that's definitely a top 4 in the East, maybe even guaranteed the best in the East next season, Cleveland Cavaliers.
Re-sign Love.
They've re-signed Love. We might. What have you said before that he might be going, over to Laker Town?
Look, I thought...
Obviously the Lakers have swung and missed on literally everyone. That's no fault of your own. You just thought the Lakers were a competent organization. So that's okay. That's an okay mistake to make.
I still thought people wanted to go to LA. Obviously, I'm wrong. Would you maybe rather go somewhere else?
Apparently Milwaukee's better.
Look, the United States of America is a very beautiful place. Don't think that LA is the only beautiful city with nice beaches.
And especially with like the integration, like the internet now, everything like that. Like it's not like the only sense of civilization now is in New York or LA. Like plenty of other great cities making some noise.
Some big cities in Texas.
Exactly.
Miami's a huge city.
Not wrong.
Boston. I mean, come on now.
Exactly.
But yeah.
So Kevin Love, 5 years, $110 million. The kind of contract we're expecting. Look, he's long-term committed to these Cavaliers. Obviously, Dan Gilbert, their GM, sees a championship in this team. We see a championship in this team.
Yeah.
So we're assuming LeBron's commitment will come pretty soon, especially after seeing Tristan Thompson will re-sign soon. I would imagine as well. We've got a commitment from. They're obviously going to pick up Mozgov's option. They've got to re-sign a few other guys. I think they did pay for Shumpert as well. I think they picked Shumpert up for. I think. Is it 4 years, 40 million, or is it?
I believe they picked.
He's
him
getting
up.
paid 10 million a year.
Yeah,
something
on
like
the team option or something.
So I think they'll have a good team next year. They'll definitely be in the top 2 in the East.
Look, for me, right now in July, they're my early pick for championship.
I have to agree. They'll have a chip on their shoulder too.
Yeah,
Like the only thing that kept them out of really competing for that championship this year was injuries.
exactly.
And that's like the worst. Because that isn't your fault. Like
no.
And we just want to quickly mention off the top of our little, contract rundown, jealous of that we're not getting paid this much. Lillard and Davis, they're not technically, free agents, but they were coming into last year, their, rookie deals, getting paid like $5 million a year or something like that.
Let's talk Lillard first.
5 years, $120 million, the same contract that Carmelo Anthony got from the New York Knicks.
Completely overpaid.
Completely overpaid. This guy may not even be a top 10 point. Oh, okay.
Was it even necessary? He's not a top 10 point guard.
Okay, well, he's like on the edge of a top 10 point guard.
He's on the edge.
He's like
not
8,
bad.
9, 10. Like he's not 23 million a years. I don't know. Like this is a big contract. Look, you needed to pay him that, I think, because he had the leverage. Because he's got 2 All-Star appearances. He's hit some of the most clutch shots I've seen from a guy this young.
Look, I agree with you. I think it was nice.
He had the leverage to get this money, and look, I don't think it's overpaid. Like, I don't think he should have been getting like 12 million. I think he still should have been something near the max. But geez, this is a lot of money for a guy that can't play defense. Like,
okay, you can't let him go. You can't let him go to another team because then what do you have?
Yeah.
LaMarcus is left.
Exactly.
You don't have anything. But to keep him at that price, it's going to hurt you in the future, man.
Yeah.
That's going to screw you around for a few drafts to come.
I think he can still develop. He still has a few things to come. Look, I'm not saying this deal is completely far gone. Like, look, he still has time. He's only come off his 3rd year in the NBA. He still has time to get better on defense. I think he just is prone when he's frustrated. He's prone to just chuck them up from 3, and if they're not falling, he's just going to try and force the issue. Mm-hmm. So he can still be really good, but I don't think he's as worth it as the next guy we're going to talk about.
No. This Anthony Davis is not a superstar. He's not a star. He's not a good player. He is the next best player in the NBA.
He's the generation that is coming in after LeBron, Kobe, KD. Like, this is the next guy. This guy is 22 years old. He just got paid 5 years, $145 million.
How old are you, Nathan?
19.
I'm 18. So in 3 years, you should be set to get paid that much.
Exactly.
That's the goal.
It's just a right, I think.
Yeah.
But this deal may be one of the biggest bargains we've talked about.
Yeah.
It's the biggest contract.
It's the biggest contract, but it's an underpaid contract. He was underpaid.
Marcelo said before, you'd give him the whole cap.
I would give him the entire cap, and I would get role players purely on luxury tax.
Just like get like guys from the D League, like just surround him.
No, I would literally just do it.
This guy is incredible. He has so much room to even improve on how good he's been so far. The youngest guy to put up a 30-plus person's Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Mm-hmm. Jeez, I sound like Skip Bayless.
Which isn't a bad thing.
Look, he still has to develop a 3-point shot, which I think he will do.
Look, we saw him working out. I saw a video of him working out somewhere. I forget
incredible in every facet.
Just draining
both
everything.
ends of the court. He's incredible. Jesus, I can't fault this guy's game. All he needs is a better supporting cast, maybe a bit more of that Mamba mentality. Mm-hmm. A bit more of hard grit nosed, anything to win passion, which I think, he has deep down.
Look, he has the power to overpower anyone. So.
This is the first guy since LeBron James we've seen where he can drag a team to playoff respectability without sort of like any other All-Star. Like LeBron did in Cleveland, I think Anthony Davis can do it here.
Yeah, the one thing though is experience. And for me, you need to get experienced players around him because he needs to learn this game as quickly as possible.
Exactly.
Okay, and it's not just playing basketball. It's the way you conduct yourself.
Exactly.
It's the behavior that you have when you're not playing basketball and the discipline that comes with the game. So you surround
it's
him.
about having good mentors. It's about...
Exactly, right. And this was a good play by the Pelicans.
And by the way, their new coach, Alvin Gentry, perfect. Perfect pick. Guy who was assistant coach on the... who was basically mentor to Steve Kerr this year.
Yeah. Who turned out to be Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year.
Much.
So I'm excited.
Won the finals in his first year.
Pelicans are going to be in the playoffs next year.
Look, if you're a New Orleans fan, right now is the time to buy your season tickets. Go do that right now.
In all likelihood, we're not talking to New Orleans fans on this podcast.
Well, you never know, buddy.
People, even though, just buy Anthony Davis stock now.
Yeah.
Buy all that stock. Okay. That's enough NBA for today. I think I'm good.
Look, it's pretty obvious we're going to be talking about this next week and probably a couple weeks to come.
And for the next year.
Not only does free agency need to finish, but the teams need to start forming. We've got NBA Summer League coming as well. So there's going to still be a lot of basketball
talk. Guys who are going to play their first games against NBA level competition.
Yeah. I mean, the season's going to come around faster than you think. So
exactly.
This basketball talk is going to continue. It might die off a little bit, but we've got other sports to talk about as well.
Exactly.
Let's move on to one of those other sports, Nathan.
Argentina versus Chile in the Copa America final.
Okay.
This is the blockbuster matchup we wanted. The blockbuster matchup we're going to get. Jesus Christ, Paraguay got absolutely rooted in the semi-final.
Look, I was literally like 2 seconds away from putting a bet down on Paraguay to beat Argentina, and
I think I urged you to do it last week as well. I remember. I don't exactly remember.
Did I promise the pod I would? I hope not, because I didn't. Thank God.
No one pull up the audio, please.
Thank heavens I didn't, because they got absolutely drilled.
Messi with a hat-trick assist, a brace from Sergio Aguero. All the guys that you, Sergio Aguero, you said underperforms at the international level. So,
look, I think what we saw from Argentina...
Also good moves from Angel Di Maria, by the way.
Yeah. I was about to get to him because the difference there was Di Maria and obviously Messi. Messi just turned it up another notch. He said, look, this team is not playing well. I'm going to have to turn creator. The way he split those two defenders. Did you see that? The way he nodded... I don't know who that guy was from Paraguay.
They're from Paraguay.
Players. We said this last week. We don't know them.
We don't care about credibility. We just don't know.
Noddy's a centre back. The centre back turns around and runs into the other centre back who just happens to try to be marking Messi, and then Messi's like in a 4-on-1 situation.
Yeah.
To seal the game. Look, this guy, and we've said it before, one of the, if not the greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
Okay. And what he's doing with this squad that has perennially underachieved, even though they have so much offensive talent, you got to remember they have deficiencies.
It feels like it's finally written the stars that Argentina are going to get an international trophy.
Yeah.
For me, it feels like it's going to be an Argentina win.
Yeah.
Look, they're coming up against an exceptional host country with a great coach. Look, Sanchez is a star, and the great thing about football, man, it can go either way. Doesn't matter about star power. It can go either way.
Look, especially when the underdog is at home.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's a completely different environment.
And we know they're absolutely rabid fans.
Exactly
in South America.
I mean, it's going to be a hard game, but I see Argentina taking this out. I'm going to have to say 3-0.
3-0?
Yeah, I think Alexis Sanchez, what he's done, even in the past 2 years, has been absolutely phenomenal, but you can't carry that through the entire year, especially when you don't have holidays.
Especially when you're coming up again. Look, I think all these players, they're not getting holidays.
No, and there's so much pressure to perform because you're in your home country.
Exactly.
Okay, so Vidal hasn't done anything. Other players on the team, they've got some good players in Chile, don't get me wrong. But they can't carry a team like Sanchez. No.
Look, I have big faith that Argentina will win this. I feel like I can see Sanchez or someone along that line scoring at least one goal. So I see a 3-1 win to Argentina. I see Messi getting involved, scoring, and I see him lifting his first international major trophy for Argentina.
Well, he did win the Under-20 World Cup. We got to remember.
Oh yeah, and the Olympics, by the way.
Exactly. So
it doesn't count.
Recent memory.
Recent memory. I think we're buying into the hate too much, Marcelo.
No, but
we know Messi's the GOAT, by the way. We know he's the GOAT. We know Argentina is a great team, and we're not taking away from any of those players on that team. We love Carlos Tevez.
Mm-hmm.
We
love Carlos Tevez.
We love Carlos
Tevez.
man.
Yeah.
Him and all his teeth.
Yeah.
Even in the places that grow where usual people's teeth don't grow.
Damn, man, why you got to do him like that? Damn, straight fire.
Sergio Aguero.
And yeah, we touched on Di Maria. Played really well.
Exactly.
You know? And he has to create more on the outside because you're not getting much wing play because you got to remember.
Do we feel like Di Maria is meant to be on the outside?
Yes, because the strikers on that team are strikers.
Exactly.
You put Ibrahimovic out on right wing, you see what happens. Please, someone try that because you're about to see absolute failure. It's a catastrophe.
It's Ibrahimovic. Zlatan never does Zlatan.
Well, okay.
Although not many people would try with a 6'6" winger with that kind of lack of mobility.
Exactly.
So good luck with that if you do try that.
So having Di Maria out on the wing when the defense is focusing so much in the middle, I don't know, man. You give him space, he can bang one in from 30 yards.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. All right. Other international football, Marcel.
Okay.
Not talking about the Matildas this week. If you want to hear about the Matildas, definitely check out our last week's pod where we did have a discussion about the politics of women's sport and all the deep stuff. But let's just keep it light today. Let's talk about the results. By light, I mean let's have a little cry over England.
Wow, man!
What a heartbreaker.
Look, Nathan. I'm gonna run you through what happened on that day. Okay.
So you need to make me relive it, Marcel.
I opened up Facebook, right? Because I apologize, I was working. Okay.
Yeah.
So
was I, by the way. I saw it at work as well.
Someone needs to make $1, alright?
Yeah.
I open up Facebook and I read, England loses on own goal. That's all it said. No.
Exactly.
England loses on own goal. Okay, so that can mean a lot of things. That could mean someone scored an own goal in the first half
Could
and
just
it
be a
just carried
deflection.
through.
So it could be a massive shot and just be a
So
deflection.
I thought maybe, like we were talking about it before the pot, like maybe off a corner kick. You know? Maybe someone shot from the outside
Could
and
just
it was
be
a
an
deflection.
accident. Yeah.
Okay. Then I loaded the video. Wow.
Oh, feels.
Wow. Man.
Feels are real.
Wow. This was one of the most unbelievable own goals. Look, it would have been a golazo, if like we like to say in Spanish.
If it was on the other end.
Because the ball comes in from the right. Japanese winger does the right thing. She crosses it because there's a man in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay, and if that cross is a little bit further in front, I think that's a goal regardless.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the cross was a little bit off. Defender gets back. I forget her name, Bassett or something like that. I'm not sure.
We're not gonna give her any opportunity to be recognised in this podcast.
Forget her name. She'll be fine. She tries to make the right play.
She tries to clear it. When
clear
there's
it.
threat on the goal.
And people give her stick for trying to clear it towards the goal. No, that is the right play. Because if you physically cannot wrap your foot around to get it to the outside or even to the corner kick.
Imagine if you tripped over yourself.
Exactly.
That would just be almost as bad.
Or you air swing.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it'd be even more of a joke. You know what I mean?
I don't think it would feel as bad though.
I don't think it'd feel as bad, but it'd be pretty funny. This isn't funny, but an air swing would be funny.
Yeah.
Okay. So she tries to make the right play, lob it over the goal. Unfortunately, didn't get the right connection. And may or may not have completely chipped her own keeper and gone top corner. In the 92nd minute of the match.
In the World Cup semi-final. The second biggest match there can be in football. Bruh.
Oh my god.
Oh, mate.
Look, I felt so sorry for her.
You have to.
And I can't believe, people are giving her hate. And English fans, are you kidding me? You did so well to get here.
Exactly.
England should be incredibly proud.
England and Australian fans have to just be appreciative.
We should applaud our national teams. Because
exactly.
the things that they have done against these monster teams, like Germany, Netherlands, these are women that can
There's been plenty of upsets.
Exactly.
English, US, and Australian football teams are doing so much better in the Women's World Cup.
Yeah. And
look, let's be honest. English teams don't need a miracle. They need an exorcist to get rid of all the curse that is on English football. There's some heartbreaking times you can watch when you've seen all these English teams, but this might take the cake. Oh,
look, as an English supporter, you would probably be crying when you
have
saw
to
that. Because let's say you take it to overtime, you might not win the game.
Yeah.
You might take it to penalties and win. You know, you never know.
But that is the worst.
If they win, it's USA versus England.
Exactly.
For me, that's a more winnable game.
If this happened when it was, let's say, 1-1, and it made it 1-1, it'd be bad. But
look, I think the biggest factor is that it was in the 92nd minute.
And it technically won the game for Japan.
Because they kicked off, and within 10 seconds, the game was over. Like, they kicked off, England went forward in a last-ditch effort. Japan had a deflection, that was it. It was over. And it was so hard to watch, even the replay of it, and I had to watch it because it was some of the biggest sports news this week.
Yeah.
But just by the headline, you don't want to watch it. And we saw the emotions on the players as well, man. It meant so much to them, and it's like, this is, like you said, the second biggest game that can happen in football. So for that to happen, man, it speaks to the greatness of the sport, you know, because it's so unpredictable.
And by the way, we just want to throw our support behind the player.
Yeah, for sure, you know. And behind England as well, because
England.
like you said, they have a history.
They have a history of just, you know, they're cursed. They are cursed. We'll just throw a quick final prediction. USA versus Japan. Who do you predict, man?
You know, I reckon US is winning this, man.
US is winning this. Look, they have Hope Solo, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Not even the best female goalkeeper. This is one of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Yep.
This seems are in the stars. This could be USA's time. It would do massive things for football in the US.
Let's talk about that, man.
Look, people are standing up and paying attention like right now.
Yep.
If they win it, that could be an amazing thing for football in the US. And by virtue, the trickle-down effect could come down to Australia. Like, this is a great thing for the global game. And also Japan, who, you know, their men's team is good, but it's not great. Mm-hmm. You know, these countries that are getting so far right now are knocking off the traditional men's football juggernauts.
Look, in Japan, for me, I reckon Japan's women's team is better than the men's.
You're not wrong.
In terms of, like, the disparity in quality?
Yeah.
You know, it's a really, really good Japanese women's team, but like you said, in America, this is going to be huge if they win, even if they don't win. Yeah. You know, we've got hosts for ESPN, which we watch every day. You know, some of the biggest sports networks in the world. SportsCenter.
They're following along.
They're following along. They say, look, we got a big match to watch, you know? And I'm like, damn, like, you think about it, Nathan, a few years ago, football wouldn't even be mentioned. You know?
Let alone women's football.
Now football is in the SC top 10. You know, you got ESPN First Take talking about, like, these are big shows and they're rallying behind our sport. Finally.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so it's finally growing and it's
I'm
great
excited.
to see.
You're excited. Let's keep the good vibes going, Marcelo.
Let's keep it going, man.
Question of the week. What is your happiest moment watching sport? What's the moment that's filled you with exhilaration, filled you with joy?
Let's make this a two-part question, though.
Watching sport, watching our idols play on the TV or on the internet, just watching them do their stuff to the best of their ability, and also our personal experience of playing sport, getting involved in, like, you know, probably one of the highlights of both our childhood does have something to do with sport. Okay, so we determined this question of the week before the pod even started, and I've been waiting to ask you, what is the happiest that sport has ever made you feel while playing? While playing it? Now, you know, Marcelo, I am not a coordinated lad. No, I am not. Which is why I chose running as my main sport through school. And I speak for Nathan here, okay? Because Nathan isn't one to boast, but Nathan is a very, very, very good long-distance runner. A very, very good runner. Okay? I'm a scrub now, guys. Yeah. I mean, you're running a marathon tomorrow, and we've got to talk about that. I am running a half marathon tomorrow with a few of my mates. Shout-outs to Simon, Liam, and Adam. Unfortunately, Tim won't be able to get up for the final, but we'll be thinking of you while we die tomorrow. But yeah, the happiest I've been when I've been involved in sport has been running. And I think it's more of a progressive thing. One particular moment I could maybe pick out was probably winning districts, overtaking, it's the first big race I'd ever won. In year 12. So I overtook the guy I was competing against. What school was he from? Got to throw some shade. I think it was Cav Road or something like that. He was coming in the final. I was just pacing off in more race. It was 6Ks. Last 400 meters, I burned him. took him to the finish line, sprinted,
fire.
and finishing that race, winning. That's one of the best feelings I've ever had playing sport.
Yo.
If not, it was just, maybe winning cross-country carnival, maybe beating you in year 10. Like,
We got to talk about that too.
some mad shade, just like, you trying to get back and I just burned you in the last
So was that grade
meters.
10?
I think it was a grade 10.
Okay, so just for some context to defend myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I am not a prolific cross-country runner.
But you are...
I was just fit.
an amazing soccer player. If you're not
fit.
going to boast, I am. He's an amazing soccer player, and with being an amazing soccer player comes great aerobic fitness. So a lot of soccer players do well at cross country.
But look, I got burned that day. All right, because Nathan's coming third.
Yeah.
No, you're coming second.
No, fourth. This is fourth, year 10.
Oh, okay.
You'll come fifth.
I don't know about
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Well, it
Yeah,
doesn't
go.
matter. Okay. He was right before me, and this is literally like the last, I want to say 150 meters.
Yeah.
And I see Nathan. Nathan's probably 10 meters in front of me. I'm about to burn this one, because I know.
You know you have the speed.
In short distance, I'm burning you. Okay?
Yeah, you're killing me. It's
I'll
not
be
even
honest.
close.
So I run up on Nathan. I'm probably like a meter behind him. I just see you look behind me, and I could metaphorically, not metaphorically, I could like imagine you just switch a button and rockets came out of your shoes, because you just decided that there is no way in hell that Marcelo Lucha is going to beat me. You turned it up like 100%, and all I saw was just a dot just fly away.
Yeah.
And that was my chance of beating you. There was no way I was beating you that
Man,
race,
like running's even just the progressive feeling of getting better when you're like training every day. Like even some of my favorite times playing sport have just been in training. Like I had a period of training when I was with Fast Track. I had some of my friends, shout out to Luke Van Wyk, shout out to Liam Corneliuson, Nigel Chong. We all trained really hard over the summer. Like just some of the days where you just grinded out with your friends, like, absolutely to exhaustion. Like those were the best of days, and it really paid off in races, man. Long distance running, some of the moments in there were not only the best times I've had playing sport, but the best times of high school.
That's good to know then, man.
What about you, Marcel? What's your favourite moment playing sport?
That playing sport has ever made me. I think it's something simple for me, man, and it's not winning anything. It's not getting a championship. It's not getting flown out somewhere. For me, it's really simple. At school, we both went to the same school.
We did.
John Paul College.
Shout out John Paul.
It was making firsts, because that was a goal for me ever since like grade 1. You know, I would tell myself like I'm gonna be in the first team, and I'm not sure. Like I'll probably go back in the history books after this and check what grade I did make first, but I want to say that I made them in grade 9.
You absolute tank.
I think I made first in grade 9, and I remember when I got the email, Marcel, from Brian Cheeseman, who was the coordinator at the time. Marcel, you've been selected in the first 11. Now, okay, I'll be honest, I didn't get much playing time. I'm grade 9, right?
Yeah.
There's like much better
Impact
players.
player.
Like there's much better players right now, but I think I got like
The high impact substitution for Marcelo Lucha.
some playing time in like cup games and like Taz and stuff. But that made me so happy getting that email. Like, you have made first 11 football, and getting presented on stage like the first 11 team of 2010 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Oh man, that made me so happy. That's easily the happiest.
That's awesome to hear.
Hey man, that's just how it is, bro. But I want to hear watching sport, because it's different.
It's different. You're watching people much better than you could ever be.
So legitimate professionals.
Yeah.
Watching sport, what's the happiest it's made you, man?
Happiest, like, I'm someone that likes to latch onto teams. I love to watch teams that I support. Mm-hmm. Watching sport, a team that I support, Chelsea Football Club in London.
Yep.
Now, my other teams generally aren't that successful. Mm-hmm. Brisbane Roar, I was too young to really watch their like real glory days in 2001 to 2003, although we are currently surrounded by their memorabilia. And the Bulls, like, they've been good. I want to mention that Derrick Rose shot in these most recent playoffs. That was incredible. That was almost a stunning moment for me.
Yeah.
But watching Chelsea Football Club go on a run where they ended up getting to the final against all odds, against a big juggernaut at home, Bayern Munich. Watching...
It was Drogba.
Watching my favourite player at the time, Blind Matter, cross it into Drogba to score a header, and that extra time was tense. Drogba gave away a penalty. Robin missed the penalty.
Robin is like a perennial choker,
Yeah,
by the way. But go on.
We have a penalty shootout. It's looking like Bayern might get up. Schweinsteiger hits the sidebar, and it misses. Drogba slots in the winning penalty. I think I ran around the house with my Chelsea jersey, over my head like an absolute nutter.
Yeah, because that's the first CL they won, right?
That's the first CL they won. They've had a few heartbreaks before, especially at the hands of your team, Barcelona.
To be fair, you guys have beaten us as well.
Yeah, exactly. That year too. Fernando Torres scoring that goal. That was also a very good memory. Yeah, probably Chelsea Football Club putting in the Champions League for me. What about you, Marcelo?
Look, mine has something to do with Chelsea as well, and I know you'll know immediately what I'm thinking about because
fucker,
okay,
little shit.
I'm not sure what year it was, but
2009. It's etched into my memory.
Chelsea had us dead to rights because I'm pretty sure we drew 0-0 at the Nou Camp in the first leg in the semi-final in the Champions League.
2009.
And Essien scores an amazing goal. I'm talking like half volley while jumping mid-air. Oh my god, and it killed Valdez. Valdez didn't know what was going on.
We also usually assume Valdez is playing half dead anyway.
Valdez
it's the
is
only
a bit
explanation.
of a lost cause, but alright. It's time's winding down. It's quite literally the last 3 minutes of the game. And I remember I'm watching it with Dad. And we're getting ready to go to school because you got to remember this is at 5:30, and the game went till 7. We got to be at school at 8, you know. And I start walking around like, damn, this is it. We're done. You know, Messi's gonna have another off season without trophies. You know, I was legitimately sad.
Yeah,
I was like God, they're and I was thinking, oh man, the boys at school are gonna give me so much shit for losing. And then I just look over. Dani Alves whips in a cross. I think it was Essien who miskicked the clearance. Falls to Messi, and I've just stood up and I get hairs at the back of my neck, man, just standing up. Passes it to Iniesta, who does one of the most unorthodox standing, placed shots I've ever seen. Goes top corner. I have never screamed so hard in my life, dude. That was absolutely incredible. Because Chelsea should not have lost that game, man. And they didn't lose, it was a draw.
Exactly.
But they shouldn't have lost the tie because we didn't do anything, man. And it was so lucky, but you saw... It was just greatness, man. It was the sport of football in a nutshell. What can happen at any point in time.
And it's amazing these, there's absolutely thousands of games of sport that go on a year. Probably hundreds that we pay attention to. And there's just ones in our life that stand out just... for significance, for the moments, and that's why we watch sport, for the extremes of the emotions it can provide on such a regular basis that you don't get in real life when you're just going, doing your day-to-day work. You get the extremes of the emotion, you get absolute sadness, you get joy, you get extreme exhilaration. That's the reason why we love covering sport. That's the reason why we like playing sport. Maybe it's even the reason why we're doing this podcast.
Exactly,
for the extremes of emotion. When we watch sport.
But we want to hear what you guys have to say because I'm sure that you guys can bring up some things that we have no idea about.
Yeah, this is the big audience participation one. If anyone is listening to this part of the podcast, we want to hear from you in the Facebook and YouTube comments. What was your favourite moment, either playing sport or watching sport? What moment sticks out to you both emotionally and personally of why you love playing sport?
And you got to remember, we are from this generation, so there'll be people that have memories from 30 years ago, moments that we can't even remember ourselves because we haven't seen. So it's going to be an interesting conversation. Exactly. Just get on those comments, bruh.
Exactly. Do you want to move on to the N1s of the week, Marcelo?
Let's do it. Do you want to go first?
I might. Now, something in particular has consumed my last week or so after work.
Okay. Okay, what percentage of your time do you spend on this?
It's only been the last week. I've already finished the game.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go to work, but it'd probably be about strong 2-3 hours a day. I've been hustling on it.
Oh my god! When do you sleep?
I don't know. But yeah, Arkham Knight, the new Batman game, is incredible. It's the best game I've played on the PS4. Best game I've played in years.
Ooh,
story's incredible, gameplay's incredible. Guys this isn't a plug. Like, I'm not trying to advertise for Rocksteady or anything like that.
We're not getting sponsorship.
We're not getting sponsorship. We want sponsorship. Hey, Rocksteady, you know what to do. But it's an incredible game, guys. Highly recommend.
Okay. I might need to get on that, to be honest.
Yeah, loan my copy. Okay, so you want to give your AM on my side?
Just a short little thing. Brisbane Roar fans, we're fucked. It's that simple. Our owners over in Indonesia, wherever the hell they're from, we're in like $9 billion worth of debt. Their workers haven't been paid, so how do you expect our players to get paid when we're such a small part of that company? Aloisi is the coach. We talked about this on another pod. One of the worst decisions they've ever made. Looks like everyone wants to leave because no one's getting paid, obviously. Why would you want to pay for that? Just lost our sponsorship with the coffee club. The Ladbrokes picked us up for one game against Liverpool, so they're going to make a hell of a lot of money off that. That's all I wanted to say. Bleakers, Brisbane Roar, we are not in a good position.
Yay, we're ending the pod on a positive note. That's what I love.
I'm sorry, I just had to get that in there, man.
Okay. No, good point. Hopefully the Brisbane Roar are back soon, but it's a lot of organisational problems at the moment. Hopefully ones that will get solved over time. As for now, I'm Nathan Bleakley.
Wait, what's your Twitter handle, bruv? You gotta let them know.
That is true.
They gotta send the hate somewhere, man.
Needs to go somewhere.
It's gotta go somewhere.
_Bleakley is my Twitter handle. And yourself?
I am at Marcelo _Lucha.
Hit us up on Facebook, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube. We're gonna keep doing what we're doing. And you know what? There might be a little surprise for the pod listeners next week.
There might be.
There might be indeed. Stay
bit
tuned.
Of visual stimulation, maybe.
Exactly, a bit of something to watch with your eyeballs.
Instead of having this open in another tab while you stalk through your ex's Facebook.
Too real for us.
Spitting that real fire.
Spit that real fire, and on that real note, I'm gonna end it here. I'm Nathan Bleakley.
I'm Marcelo Lucha.
And this has been the No Regard Podcast.
Thanks, guys.